Welcome back to Characters. My name is Laura Diaz. It is so good to have you here today. Thank you so much for tuning in the past 2 weeks. I feel really great about this show so far. I'm really excited about the direction, and I'm really excited about today's conversation. Today we're joined by legendary costume designer Mona May. She's here celebrating her new book, The Fashion of Clueless, a 30-year anniversary look back on the iconic film. So we're of course talking about the costumes of Clueless, how the fashion of Clueless influences our understanding of the characters of the film, how the film has really stood the test of time. And we're also, of course, talking about some of Mona's other iconic works in films like The House Bunny and Romy and Michele. A quick note, towards the end of the conversation, we are describing images of some costumes. So it's totally fine if you're only listening on audio, but if you'd like to see the images, I will have them included in the video version of this podcast that's only available on YouTube. That is going to be linked below. All of my socials will be linked below. Like I said, I'm really enjoying the show so far. I hope that you're also really enjoying it. Let me know what you think of the episode. Let me know what you think of the show. You can rate and review wherever you're listening today. Make sure that you're following or subscribed wherever you're listening as well. And leave me a comment on Spotify. The last couple of weeks, every week since the launch of Characters, I've been like, oh my God, it's so fun that you can leave comments on Spotify now. But I really think it's a great way for us to continue the conversation about that episode. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed today's conversation with Mona May. Mona May, welcome to Characters.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
It is such an honor to be sitting with you today, to speak about your work and to speak about your philosophies on fashion and film and women in film. And I'm just so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm just excited to be here, talk about my book and, celebrate Clueless.
Can you believe it's been 30 years? I know that you've been speaking about it being 30 years, the anniversary, but can you believe the impact of the film long term?
No, I can't believe it's been 30 years, and I can't believe the impact on the film and, just so many generations of fans. It's the women that are, in their 50s who saw the movie when they were young, and I just spoke to a group of art high schoolers yesterday, and they were, from grade 7 to 12, and they were huge fans. So it's like a whole nother generations of kids. They were not even born nearly when the movie came out, which is amazing.
Yeah, I was saying before we got started that it's really incredible the impact of Clueless today and how the story continues to be impactful because the themes of the movie are so central to the high school experience. It's a movie about friendship. It's a movie about these very normal challenges that girls are going through. Yes, it was very glamorous. It was wonderful to look at, but it was also so grounded in true high school experiences.
Yeah, I think it was a really great script. The script was based on Emma, Jane Austen, but I think that Amy Heckerling, the director who also wrote the script, just really made the characters very believable, very real, and this was in the 90s. It was really the first movie about girls. When she wrote the film and went around the studios, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Sony, nobody wanted to make the movie because it was about girls. And not till Paramount, where the movie was run by Cher Lansing, a woman, we found a place to make the movie. All the movies after the Legally Blonde, the Mean Girls, that came after Clueless. So it was kind of revolutionary in a way.
Yeah, and I also understand that Clueless had a relatively small budget because the studio didn't anticipate it to be as big as it was.
No, I think we were you could say stepsister. So we got a little bit of money and also not too much attention, which is actually really good in a way because normally, studios can breathe on your neck and, approve everything, check everything, and we kind of were left alone. So we were able to really create and have fun, and there was no producer going down and saying, don't put hats on actors because I can't see their eyes or some crazy stuff. We just did our fun stuff. And Amy was just an amazing director who not only wrote the movie but casted the movie so fabulously. Then she got all these amazing artists, the production designer, the director of photography, myself, very talented people to put together something that was very fresh.
It feels fresh even watching it today. And I think the fashion has a lot to do with it. And I think the fashion has a lot to do with why the film remains such a cult classic. People today, I can't look at yellow plaid and not think of Cher. I can't. So I'd love to talk also just about those early days and planning out the fashion of Clueless. So we understand that there was a relatively small budget. I understand that you had to be a little scrappy in your
I did, but
costume
it was
design.
kind of, matter of invention in a way. Sometimes
Yeah.
you have to do it. But yeah, there was not a lot of money for the clothes, and it was a fashion show already in the script. I
Yeah.
mean, we knew that the girls are changing sometimes 3 times a day, and all the clothes, they were rich, so they could use their American Express daddy's credit cards and buy clothes from the runways. I mean, really, really the top fashions. What I think the most challenging was that there was really not a blueprint. So what I had to come up with, all these ideas, it was not on the street. When we went to high schools with Amy and looked at the high schoolers in 1994 when we were scouting for the locations, everybody was wearing grunge. It was just like sea of darkness, and girls and boys looking exactly the same in baggy pants and big t-shirts and plaid shirts. So me and Amy just looked at each other. It was like, oh no, 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 no. We have to create our own world, Very California. I mean, very Beverly Hills, very upscale, colorful, fun, feminine. It was really something that Amy had in her head, writing the script. And I met her on a different project, on a pilot prior to the movie. And we just really connected creatively. It's how it is when you meet like a soulmate, creative soulmates or love soulmate. I mean, we were the creative soulmates, and it was just so much fun. We had a really great time. We had the same kind of sensibility about femininity and kind of, she's very grounded, Amy, but she loved my kind of playing with fashion, that I really can bring something really big and we can still ground it in a way. So when she wrote Clueless, she called me and she said, do you want to do the movie? I mean, what a lucky break, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I came from fashion. I was a fashion designer. That's what I did at school. So to me, it was truly like a dream come true to do a movie that's about fashion and doing it as a costume designer, my two loves.
Yeah. I imagine there was also a challenge in clothing high schoolers who were very comfortable speaking about brands in the script. So you hear, of course, I can't get down, this isn't Alaya, or who says that's a dress, Calvin Klein. Like these are, where's my shirt from Fred Siegel? Like these are girls who are talking about fashion and brands so casually in their everyday language. I imagine that's an additional challenge because they're also 16.
Yes, that was a challenge, but what was cool about Amy too, when we work together, the way that she writes the script, she doesn't write Alaya. She writes a red Christmas dress that's very grown up, and then I can bring something, to the film. My ideas, we do these fittings with Alicia, and we try things on, and that dress I just loved so much, and I actually couldn't afford it, so I ended up calling, because that was pre. This is analog times, you guys. There was no computers. There was no emails. We had the rotary phones. We had beepers, which was pretty amazing. So we actually called Paris. I found somebody who spoke French and called the atelier of Mr. Alaya, and we asked if we could possibly borrow the dress for this beautiful film that we're making with this gorgeous Alicia Silverstone. And he was so gracious and said yes.
And I understand that you made the jacket
And
that
I
she
did
wears.
make the jacket. I love that outfit. That's one of my favorite outfits in the movie because, this was so on a budget, and it was not a lot of time to prep. It was about 2 months, and I mean I had thousands of costumes. Alicia Silverstone alone had 63 changes, and I dressed every person you see on screen in a quad, in a classroom, in a cafeteria. So everybody was dressed because otherwise they would look grunge. They wouldn't fit in our Beverly Hills world that we've created, bright and happy and fashionable. I mean, it's fun to work with someone like Amy, those kind of directors to allow you to play and allow you to kind of bring something. She wrote a great line with the Alaya, as well as the Calvin Klein. She just wrote it was an inappropriate dress. And then we came up with this little slip dress, in fittings. And she wrote, it's a Calvin Klein. But it was great. I mean, even in the beginning of the movie when she writes, it's a Dr. Seuss hat,
Yes.
Skinnacollie. I mean, it's just really, it's Amy bringing this language, and movies were not made like that. People did not speak that way in the films.
Yeah.
Fashion speak, as you would say.
Yeah. So comfortable. Something I'd love to talk to you about because you mentioned that you had to dress everybody on that cast, even the extras. While we think of the main characters, when we think of Cher, Dionne, and Tai, they all have very distinct styles, but they all work very well together. So I'd love to talk a little bit about creating the personality of that character in their costume and working them together.
Well, that's kind of the job of costume designer. We have to really create the story with the clothes. We have to find out who these people are. We kind of like psychologists. We get in there. Where do they go to school? Where do they shop? Who are they? How much money do they have? All of that. Which part of the world do they live in? Of course, which era do they live in? Very important. And the script already had so much. We kind of knew who these girls were on the page. We knew that Cher was kind of the queen bee. That she was, even though she was super smart, there was a little bit of insecurity that she had to kind of, cover up in a way. So I think she was very put together. She was almost like perfectionist. Everything had to match. It was very tailored. You see a lot of the jackets and everything kind of matchy. As Dionne, was a little bit more experienced with the boys. Funky. She was African American. Different skin tone. We could put the different colors. Her skirts could have been a lot shorter. There was a lot of kind of crossover of being a little bit more grown up in a way. I mean, Amy really wanted the girls to feel 16, so that was also important, to bring the high fashion into the world of high schoolers, so you didn't see like snooty models running around in high heels, and then you had Amber, who was just the fabulous fashionista, and she could just do anything, and each girl had different color palette. We kind of always have to stay with the color palette, so each one of them had their own world in a way that you create. And then you have Tai, who comes in kind of the ugly duckling and in her little baggy, like exactly how the kids look right at the street. And she's a kind of chameleon because she became like mini-me Cher. She finds herself through the film, and at the end you kind of see her really being authentic, true to herself, kind of like learning about herself. And that's really fun because you tell these stories, with the clothes, because if you see an actor on the screen come out, they don't have to say a word, and with 10 seconds you know who they are by what they're wearing.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Tai and the character arc of Tai. She is this ugly duckling that Cher takes under her wing.
Yes.
And the progress of Tai throughout the film is so clear in her fashions.
Yes.
So I'd love to talk a little bit about that. Like, what does it mean for the progress of the story to be told through the clothing?
It's everything. I mean, truly, this is my job. If I do it badly, you kind of, I think, why is she a teacher on this salary and wearing these expensive clothes? So you have to really portray it the right way. And what was interesting with Tai was that even though when she was mini Cher, she couldn't afford the designer clothes, so she would go to the mall. So it was the mini me Cher version, but in kind of a not in the best fabrics, maybe not in the best colors. Maybe the fit wasn't as perfect as Cher, because everything that the girls wore, Dionne and Cher, it was perfectly tailored. I mean, it really looks high-end designer. So, she was a little bit more funky. Maybe the shoes were not just the perfect ones. What script tells us, and as a costume designer, is our guide, but we have a way to play, and especially the actors are really important in the equation of getting the character right, because there's one thing to imagine everything, the collages, talk to the director. Everything really happens, the magic happens in the fitting, because the actor has to come in, has to try the clothes on. Alicia Silverstone looks different than another actor in the same outfit. So you have to find it. They have to feel 100% as well. And Brittany Murphy was so smart. I mean, she was only 17 when she was in the film.
I believe it was her first role.
It was her first role, yeah. Her mom was still on set, and she knew how she wanted to portray this part. She wanted to make sure that in the beginning she's really it's not flattering at all. So there is a room to grow and to play and kind of find the opposites. And that's really, really best part, I think, of my job too, to be able to create with actors, to give them the confidence, for them to really feel like the character when they step on the stage or set.
Can you tell me a little bit about the process of sourcing? Because I also understand that in addition to a smaller budget, you also had a bit of a time crunch, correct? You had
Yes,
about 2 months.
2 months, which is crazy. I don't
Tell
even
me a
know.
little bit
I
about
don't
the
even know how I did
sourcing.
it. Truly, it was like maybe being naive sometimes helps. Right now it would be like, oh my god, this is impossible. Yeah, it was challenging because there was no Amazon, there was
Yeah.
no delivery of clothes. We had to really find things and find things from all different kind of sources. Thrifting was big. Everything that we bought in a thrift store got altered perfectly, so you don't even know the pieces in the you wouldn't even recognize that something maybe
Yeah.
have came from a thrift store, but because it looks so perfect, like couture. Mall, going to like Contempo Casuals, if people remember that store, and then bringing in some high-end pieces that I could afford, like the yellow plaid suit that was Jean-Paul Gaultier Jr. I got the free ally. I had to return it. But I had some Dolce Gabbana. I had other things, and at the time also in the 90s, people didn't dress high and low, which is something that is very common right now. You wear like jeans with your, fur coat and, giant ring and a Balenciaga bag and, either flip flops or maybe some other designer
Yeah.
shoe. But you can kind of really mix it and it's very cool. As at the time, people didn't dress that way. And I think what I brought also with this kind of mix from not having all the money for designers' clothes, it was very fresh. So I think that was something also when the movie came out, women really took to, that they could kind of play more with clothes. Like if you think of the opening scene when you have Cher in her yellow suit and Amber is in her little black cardigan, trimmed with the boas, but she's wearing it with jeans and white t-shirt.
Yeah.
That was really unheard of at the time. So it's fun, so it's kind of sometimes the challenges are the mother of invention, something that you are given and you have to play with and make something new and fresh.
You're touching on the way that Clueless influenced fashion and this mixing of high and low. I would love to ask, how do you feel about people celebrating the outfits of Clueless today, like in Halloween costumes?
I mean, come on, that's pretty amazing. I mean, truly. I mean, I was in Miami last Halloween and I saw Clueless girls there, and I get sent all kinds of pictures from people from all over the world. Truly, I mean, babies in little yellow plaid suits. So it's fantastic. I mean, I just think anything that can inspire us and give us joy. And I think clothes are so fun.
Yeah.
So why not? And, as I said, generations too. So the women who had children and now they are, 18 and they watching it. And, they watch it together, which is really fun. Mom and the daughter. It's just so cool. Or girls get together. It's like, oh my God, I watched it hundreds of times. I love it. I mean, it's flattering. It's amazing. It's a legacy, something that I can leave behind,
Of course it's a legacy. And the impact of Clueless is so beyond just the story. Like we were saying, it's really in the fashion. And a big part of the impact of Clueless is the way that it's impacted the way that girls dress, the way they think about their clothing. And I also felt like watching Clueless as an adult, I could pick up on some of the themes of the movie respected in the clothing.
Yes.
So you were mentioning earlier, like the way that Cher looks quite put together in coordinated sets versus Dionne, who has a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Cher, a big theme of hers throughout the movie is her virginity. And she is really attached to saying, she says, it's not that I'm prudish, it's that I'm very selective. And you can tell in the way that she dresses, like it's very selective, like it's very sweet.
Yes.
That mall dress, I think I love that mall dress.
That's Alicia's favorite dress.
You're kidding. That's my favorite dress.
The green one.
Yes, the little cap sleeves with the empire waist little bow. Like, it's so cute. And you can tell that that's supposed to be a character, very selective about things in her life.
Yeah.
Whereas Dionne has a lot of fun. I mean, when she's learning to drive and she's like in a really cute little outfit, but she's having fun. Like she looks 16, but she's also just like embracing life. Like she's cool.
Yeah, I love her. I love the clothes for Dionne. We had a lot of fun with Stacey Dash because she was a little older, and when she came into the fitting, she was kind of like, okay, I like this. This is cool. Let's make this happen. As Alicia was, she was such a already at the age of 18 activist. Like just could care less about fashion, coming into the fittings with her sweatpants and 2 dogs in a tow that she just rescued, so she actually had to kind of learn how to become Cher. As Stacey, Dionne was like, okay, I know what to do immediately. It was funky cool.
Are there any outfits in Clueless that you feel are underappreciated that people don't talk about enough?
I do like that sheer black top with the white tank top underneath.
The gym outfit?
In the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
I mean, the gym outfits, yes. Because, again, the gym outfits, nobody wore. There was no athleisure at the time, you know. There was like champion sweatpants. So that was also very revolutionary, you know, to have these girls in these cool clothes, gym outfits. What was that, you know? And I mean, when you think of the black spaghetti top over white t-shirt, I invented it.
Very cool.
And now everybody's wearing it. You can even buy it as a set.
Yes. I don't want to jump too ahead, but towards the end of our conversation, I have some photos pulled that
Oh,
I'd love to get
great.
your rapid fire
Oh,
thoughts
sure, of
on.
course.
A lot of
That'll be
them are
fun.
from, of course, Clueless.
Yes.
But I'd also love to talk to you about another project of yours that I love, 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 The House Bunny.
Oh my God. I
Another
love House
film
Bunny.
with incredible fashion that people today continue to say that they wish they could get their hands on Shelley's outfits.
Oh, Shelley was the funnest character to dress, especially because she was played by Anna Faris, who is just the coolest and had the best body. She was truly like a little Barbie girl. And I had an amazing script by Kiwi Smith, you know, and she also wrote Legally Blonde, which is amazing, and many other great rom-coms. So, you know, I had a great script to work with too. You know, I mean, the characters were so strong on a page, you know, but the challenge in this film was all the girls. I mean, now instead of like 3 in Clueless, I had 7. And they changed from very kind of like ugly ducklings to the Playboy bunny girls. And then in the end, you kind of saw them finding themselves again and being authentic in their own looks, you know. So it was a lot of clothes.
Yes. Can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration behind Shelley? Because we, as the public, have heard that Shelley was heavily inspired, of course, by Bridget Marcourt.
Yes.
We know that Bridget was portrayed on Girls Next Door as very scholarly, and there's a little bit of poking fun in Shelley's character about her age and getting out of the Playboy mansion. But she is still retaining a lot of that same style and a lot of that same energy. So how is that inspirational, I suppose, to the costume design?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've watched all the shows.
Yeah.
And of course, I think we wanted to know what really is the reality like and what the girls are like. But it was a fictional character, you know, that we were creating. And I think the most important part to me was kind of the sweetness, you know, because we didn't want to portray that character kind of has been or just kind of slutty or, you know, it was already kind of a little sad character because, you know, she was a little bit clueless in the way of like, okay, who am I, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the clothes really had to be kind of uplifting in a way, you know, and sweet. And also I didn't want her to make her too slutty, you know, so it was really fun. I wanted to really just look at her and you're like, oh my God, this is so cute. She looks so adorable. I feel so sorry for her that she has to go through all this horrible, you know, situations in life. So that was really cool. And, you know, Anna was really great. She was very feminine, very pretty. And it was really easy to do that, you know, in a way. We were able to, you know, not create a caricature. And I think that was really important, you know, someone that you really love, you like, you know, you feel really sorry for her. But, you know, so hence polka dot, you know, a lot of bows, yellows, you know, the beautiful colors and, you know, the crazy shoes that poor Anna had to wear, you know, the big platform shoes. You know, a lot of accessories, light, you know, really light and fun.
Yeah, that's such a thoughtful way to describe the character of Shelley because I feel the same way. Like, she's sweet, you want the best for her. You're introduced to this character as someone that you're supposed to feel sorry for.
Yeah.
But she's the best.
Yeah,
Like,
she is. I mean, she has such good intentions always, you know.
yes. Another pair of characters. I'm sorry I'm jumping around all of your
It's
projects,
okay.
but I love your
It's
work.
Okay, thank you.
Another pair of characters that I imagine was a little bit challenging to dress in coordination was Romy and Michele.
Oh my God, the best though. Oh my God. I mean, working with Lisa Kudrow, Mira Sorvino, you know, they were just the best because, you know, I did it after Clueless. And, you know, Clueless, I had kind of, as I said, I had to be careful because they were 16, you know, so they couldn't be like too slutty. But here we come, Romy and Michele, party girls going out every night. We could just go all out. And I mean, those fittings were a blast, you know, because it was just, I mean, the chainmail dress, the boas, you know, also gym outfits. They were like all made up and, you know, super crazy and fun. I mean, even like, you know, who bikes in high heel tennis shoes, of course. It's so important. And they had so much fun, those girls too, you know, creating this kind of very, very valley girl in a way, creative girls who are kind of really love their life in a way. And then not really till later they realize that maybe their lives weren't that great. But then they were really great in the end, you know?
It's very camp.
It's very camp. I love camp.
And they're characters that are like very intentional in how they present themselves as well. Once they realize like we've got to be the businesswoman special,
Oh
like,
my God.
right? Really presenting themselves intentionally.
Yeah.
Is there any film that you feel like that you've worked on that the costumes have been underappreciated?
Oh, I mean, I love Wedding Singer. People do love Wedding Singer.
Wedding Singer is so much fun.
So much fun. I mean, Never Been Kissed. I love Never Been Kissed with Drew. That was such a great journey, character
Yes.
journey through the clothes. I mean, Enchanted. People love Enchanted.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion maybe a little bit under the radar because that was really fun with Eddie Murphy. That was a very
Yeah.
interesting project because I got to do some very specialty there, like clothing that actually was treated with Scotch light that glows in the dark. So that was really
interesting.
fun for the ghost part. I don't know. I have to look at my resume. I
That's
mean, I've
okay.
done 70 movies. It's like,
I have a
I mean, I've
follow-up.
done a lot of Disney stuff, which
Yeah.
people also love, which is like Lemonade Mouth
I was
and
gonna
Cheetah
say-
Girls and Xenon.
I was
and-
going to say the Xenon sequels. I understand that you worked on the second and third, but you did not work on the first.
No.
Was that challenging to take on someone else's work and make it your own?
No, because I just bring my own stuff. I bring my own, I mean, they actually hired me to make something really, different with it. So, same with Stuart Little was really interesting. I didn't do the first one, but the movie was already established. The audience believed that a mouse can live with humans. So when it came to the sequel, we could do something really different. In
Yeah.
the first one, he was in little kind of like a suit. But then when I got to him, I kind of gave him a whole wardrobe of jeans and sweaters and sweatshirts and raincoats and stuff. Like he went and shop at the Gap.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think each designer, everyone, we are artists, so we just bring our own flavor to whatever we do and kind of, with my movies, I think you kind of see a signature in a way. There's a lot of color, femininity, whimsical stuff, it's a little camp, which is fun. So I think it's kind of recognizable in a way.
Oh, it is. It is. The people know when it's a Mona May movie.
Yeah.
And it's,
And fashion, I love fashion.
yes. And I
so-
imagine also you work with a lot of similar teams sometimes. You've worked with the same teams on a few projects. So I imagine that also helps in how you can establish yourself in the project.
Yes, it was true in the 90s, but everything is changing now. I mean,
Yeah.
now we're making movies all over the world, and really, I'm like traveling, gypsy, going to different places and assembling different teams, people that I may have never worked with together. So it's interesting. It's a kind of a different Hollywood now to what we used to know when the studio system was so much stronger.
I imagine also with all the streaming services, like that's also a
Everything
different challenge.
changed. Everything changed. I mean, we used to make movies, and now they talk about making content, which is just, a little bit different and kind of hurtful.
Yeah.
Because to me, and I'm a filmmaker, I create these worlds for people to enjoy and have fun with, and maybe escape through and learn something and get inspired.
Yeah. Is it different to create costumes for a project that goes onto a streaming service versus a film for you 20 years ago? So I'm thinking of Santa Clarita Diet. You've worked with Drew Barrymore before,
That was fun. That was really fun.
but
We
that was
reunited.
also made for a
It
TV
was
viewing experience.
very fast. It just
Yeah.
a faster schedule and less money, maybe more compacted.
Yeah.
I think things changed too with COVID. I think that when we used to sit around big tables and check swatches and paint chips and really talk, now we do it a lot on Zoom, which is a
Yeah.
little bit different for a creative process. I find it not as personal and not as fun.
Yeah. I have some photos that I'm going to pull up.
Okay.
And I would love to get your kind of rapid fire thoughts on some of
Okay.
these.
Okay.
I'll tell you that I pulled from the three main films that we talked about today.
Okay.
Of course, Clueless,
Okay.
House Bunny, and
Okay.
Romy and Michele.
Oh, okay.
I'll overlay on the screen the
Okay.
image.
Oh my God, the best. The yellow plaid suit, Alicia Silverstone, Jean-Paul Collier Jr. So good because we didn't know that this is going to be the suit. I didn't
The
even know
suit.
that the yellow is going to work on her. But she had to pop. It was such an important first day of school. She was outside in a quad, a lot of, guys in front of her. She had to be the queen bee, and the yellow was like the queen bee. Sunshine, ray of sunshine. So it was so perfect. And I designed the outfit for Stacey Dash, for Dionne, to, be complimentary. And then we got this crazy hat from New York from this head designer who still operates, Calkin,
Fabulous.
which, Amy wrote a little Dr. Seuss line about it. And then she's wearing a 1950s purse, from thrift stores to go with it. So she's funky.
I love it.
Oh, the gym. Oh my God. They're just so fabulous. I love it. I mean, Stacy, again, she has like a tuxedo shirt, and her little skirt. They also have water bottle holders, which I
Yes.
designed. They were like Chanel inspired, which was, the rage. Completely new thing. Now we have phone holders and all this other stuff, but that was so new at the times. Everybody's wearing a pager, which is hilarious to match their outfit. And
everyone's in black and white, which I
Well,
imagine
it was the theme for the gym. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you normally wear, but on steroids.
right. Everyone looks so different, even though they're theoretically in the same scheme.
Yeah,
They're all very distinct.
I know. And I love Amber too, because
too.
her outfit's kind of like inspired by a wrestling outfit or, 1920s swimsuit for women. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And we always added like more crazy hair to her outfits and, the red star on her chest.
She
There
was
was
fun.
always something. She was so much
She
fun.
was very fun.
And, the actress was fabulous too. As I said, I think it's so important for the actor to embody it. And they just embodied the character. I mean, Stacey had the swag, she knew how to move in the clothes. And I mean, the crazy, ridiculous outfit we put on Amber, I mean, the Pippi Longstocking, but Elisa Donovan wore it like it was a runway show.
Yeah.
It was so much
It's in
fun.
the attitude.
Yeah, it's the attitude.
Cher after failing the driving test.
It's such a beautiful outfit. I think that's maybe underrated in the film because it's so important to the moment when she is depressed and she's unraveling. So as we talked about her always being so put together, tailored, this is messy. There's kind of like a strange layering of the vest, and the shirt is out. The shirt is also made out of a very kind of a crinkly, soft silk material. So it just doesn't look like she's all together.
Yeah.
And it's perfect because she's lost. She's walking
Yeah.
around Beverly Hills till she knows and
Yeah.
figures out that she loves Josh. Oh, Romy and Michele, my girls. Oh my God.
And the laundromat.
The laundromat look. I mean, look at them. It's the A-line skirts, always fun shoes, showing a little bit of the midriff, but again, cool, being cool, not too slutty. And, even if you add the laundromat, you gotta look good.
You gotta look
because you
good.
could meet a guy.
You never know who you're going to meet
Never
when you leave
know
the
who
house.
you're gonna meet. Seriously. And that was their motto. They gotta look fabulous no matter what.
And one of my favorite things about this particular set is how they're clearly matching, but still so distinct. And it looks like something that they would have, thrown together. Oh, if I wear this top, you wear that top. Like,
Of
it's
course.
just
Always checking.
playful.
But that's so important. I mean, when you think of shows like, Romy and Michele, Clueless, and then later on Sex and the City, when you have like an ensemble team, you have to think of who is wearing what. So when I do the fittings, I usually do the fittings with the number one, which would be Alicia. Then I do the fittings with Dionne, played by Stacey Dash, and then the other characters, and then I do the collage. So I put them in the right scenes, and then, usually like with Amy heckling, we had the fun of like putting the puzzle together, who's wearing and who's, what goes with this outfit. Very important.
Very important. Another
Oh,
fabulous
okay. This
pair.
was so cool. The blue and pink dress that they wear for the high school. And, this was so great because it was coming out. This is who we are, and we don't give a F. And this is it, and it was the same pattern of a dress. But again, in such a unique way of taking something and creating it to your own character, to who you are. And I think that's what's so great, because I think for people watching the films, maybe that's what you are attracted to, that you can find yourself in these characters. I'm more like Romy, I'm more like Michele, I'm more the feminine, or I'm more, slick and kind of, I mean, it's such a cool thing because it is the same shape of a dress, but in such a different way treated.
Yes.
So this is who we are. I think we have to find ourselves.
Yes.
And this is great for me as a costume designer to be able to create these characters for others
Yes.
to enjoy. Yes.
What a good way to say it. You're right. I didn't even notice they are the same dress. But that's why they work so well together.
Exactly.
They're so distinct.
Mirror sisters, best friends.
Shelley sitting, studying in her
Plaid.
plaid.
A very studious shirt. With her little tie, reading poetry. Look at her. I mean, she was truly like a baby doll to dress. It was so fabulous. And it was such a game, Also, it's like Lisa Kudrow and Anna Faris. They're comedian,
Yeah.
and they don't take themselves too seriously. They kind of game for anything,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what's so fun, doing fittings with her and working with them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had so many changes in House Bunny. I mean, probably as many as in Clueless. I must actually count the changes in House Bunny for
Next book.
Shelley. Yeah. Next one. No, there's many books coming.
All right, last one. Shelley at the volcano party.
Oh my God. I
And her-
loved the volcano party. That was so much fun creating all the costumes for everybody. I mean, even the pregnant girl and the girl with the braids, played by Romer Willis. But I don't know. It's funny that it's yellow too. Now I'm looking at it. Wow, I may be very attracted to yellow in some way. But how fabulous. All the bows, all the jewelry, all the hair, and the most perfect body that Anna Faris.
She just was going all out at all times.
Out. So much fun. Oh, what a great little trip. Memory lane. Wow. Yes. You know what? It's really fun to look at your career and be able to, you know, see these fun movies that delight everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, people are crazy about Romy and Michele. That's another one with
cult classic.
Cult classic. Halloween costumes everywhere. Super fun.
Yes. Mona, you are here celebrating the Fashion of Clueless, your recent book.
Yes.
High level, what can folks expect from the book?
You know, it's something that I've been dreaming of for 30 years, really. I wanted to share my journey, you know, of coming up with the costumes and, you know, now 30 years later, talking to the actors. I mean, Paul Rudd, it was so great to kind of, you know, reminiscence. And he's like, Mona, do you remember? I wore my own jeans and shoes. I was like, oh my God, we really were trying to save money. But he was that guy, you know, and just having some style guides and behind the scenes and how costume designers work. How do we really come up with it? Like the yellow suit. It's not just arbitrarily that we pick the, you know, yellow. And something like the legacy, you know, leaving something behind. And I think what's the most fun is for people to picking it up, and then you can sit with these characters at home in your couch with a glass of wine and just have fun and, you know, really be up close to it, which is really nice.
Yes. Well, it's a beautiful book. I have to say the layout is also beautiful. You have Polaroids, you have testimonials from
oh my God, the Polaroids.
Folks you worked
okay,
with.
The Polaroids, you guys, we found them in Paramount Vault. They survived 30 years in some box. And those are Polaroids from, they called continuity Polaroids. So they were made on set, and it shows how actor wore the clothes. So I didn't even see them in 30 years. I didn't even believe they were still in existence, and we were able to put them in a book. I mean, this is truly behind the scenes, because they just, you know, they are not in perfect lighting. It's somewhere in a corner of a set that, you know, my assistant took a photo. He used to carry these big rings with all the Polaroids, and now it's all on the phones, of course. So yeah, it's such a delight.
Yeah. Gosh, Mona, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh,
thank you so much
you.
for sharing your philosophies, and I'm so excited to hear about Clueless from you. I'm so thankful that you joined us, and just like we're able to open up that world to us. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you guys follow me on It's Mona May and buy the book. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. I have to say also, it's a beautiful gift.
It's a beautiful gift.
It's a beautiful gift.
I mean, I love the way that I got to design it. This is like actually fabric. A tag, costume designer
so
tag.
Cute.
This has like stitching. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah,
it's
really cool.
I think it's like a collectible
it
item.
Is.
Yeah.
It is. It's
so I hope everybody
a legacy
enjoys
item.
Yes.
It's a legacy item. Mona, thank you so
much.
Thank you.